Am I live? Yes, I would like you to. Why don't you do it earlier? But you know what? Never mind. Don't, because we don't have a whole lot of testing left. Hopefully my lighting is good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it started soon. This is what's up, Donald? What's going on? I'm gonna do my chakra gland breakdown. So this is my little trusty dandy whiteboard over here. So I'm let a few people come in, but I basically got everything broken down. I'm gonna pretty much go over what are they, what the chakras are, what are the glands, and how they correlate with one another, and the different functions of them. And, you know, and if anybody looks for any reference, I know Nick Galvin want to know books and stuff. I mean, obviously, the glands are basic biology, and this is biology. You got testicles and stuff, and you know, pick up a biology book or something, you know, it'll point you in the right direction. You know, the glands in general, you got testes, ovaries, pancreas, the adrenal glands, thymus, thyroid, pituitary gland, and the pineal gland. So that's basically biology. This stuff is yoga, like Kundalini style. Locke, are you on? Are you watching and you're here? You might as well come be a part of it. All right. So, anyways, what's up, Yomar? How you feeling, man? It's good to see you. And Miss Bishmala, Tommy's wifey. How are you? Anyway, so I'm gonna go over. I'm about to start soon. Everybody's coming. All right, Nadia. Everybody's coming. All right. So I guess I'll start since I got a few people in. All right. Basically, we're gonna start with the endocrine system first because I told you most illnesses. How's it going? Most illnesses and most diseases and most pills, most medication has to do a lot with the endocrine system. Endocrine system is a series of glands that produce hormones. And hormones affect the body as far as our sleeping patterns. Hormones they create T cells. Hormone regulates. How's it going, Auntie? Hormones regulate blood temperature in the body. It controls the adrenaline. So this is the roles of and obviously, you know, your testes and your an estrogen in the body is produced by the endocrine system. So there's 7 glands inside of the body. There's 7. All right. So in the case like, you know, I spoke to my friend Steve, and him and I always have a lot of chats, and we're talking about, you know, fitness and people that do steroids. And I know there's a big thing to go around like a rumor. It says if you do steroids, that it'll make your private area smaller if you do steroids. And this is where it doesn't make the phallus smaller. It does, however, shrink the testicles because the testicles become atrophy. Because if you're using synthetic steroids when your testicles produce steroids, then what's the point of the job of your testicles? And the same with diabetes. If you take synthetic insulin, which is insulin's a gland that produces by the pancreas, which I'm going to go over the glands in a second, then the pancreas become atrophied and doesn't have a job anymore if you're taking synthetic insulin. So sometimes when you are diabetes 1 and you get on the insulin, it almost kills your ability to ever almost get off of it. So I'm gonna go without, you know, going in too much. I'm gonna go into the gland systems. What really made me get into the gland system was actually ancient Egyptians, because they used to cut the bodies up and really dissect them. And then once I started realizing that my mood is affected by certain things like adrenaline and things that are stimulus that trigger, then I started understanding that it's a chemical thing. It's not so much things in my head. So I'm gonna start with the first gland. I'm gonna start at the top with the glands, and then with the chakras, I'm gonna go from the bottom. All right. So starting at the top with the glands, we're gonna do the pineal gland. The pineal gland is responsible for, it secretes a hormone called melatonin. So when one is tired and wants to go to sleep, I think it should be over here. When one is tired and one wants to go to sleep, it's activated by the darkness. You know, you look up the etymology of melatonin, like melanin, like our skin color. Melanin means dark. Melanin is in the hair, melanin is on the organs, melanin is in the eyes, melanin is in the skin. Melanin makes things dark, like the panther, like a melanistic cat. So they make things dark. So anyhow, so we're starting with the pineal gland. It produces melatonin and serotonin. What's going on, Joe? So after that is, hold on a second. After that, we're dealing with the pituitary gland. Along with the hypothalamus, it receives the signals and it communicates. It's like the command center, and it communicates with the other glands in the body. That's the pituitary gland job. Moving right along, we got the thyroid. Most people have thyroid issues. They either hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism. Hyper's too much and too less. They produce T3 and T4 hormones. They regulate the blood sugar. They regulate the blood temp and stuff for the thyroid. The thymus is right below that. That produces like the T cells and stuff. The adrenal glands, I'm going to go through this real quick. I ain't going to spend too much time on it. You can just Google it if you get an opportunity. The adrenal glands produce cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Whenever you're stressed out, the body, the adrenal glands are right on top of the kidneys. They're like two little triangle-shaped glands on top of the kidneys. They produce something called cortisol, stress hormone. You know, you got to be careful with that one. The pancreas produces insulin. It regulates blood sugar. It opens up the cell and allows, you know, the nutrients to get in, protein, carbohydrates, and those things to get in. Then you got the ovaries. They regulate estrogen, it's a female hormone, and testes for the testicles. So that was very painful. I know a lot of guys don't want to go to school, but I figured I'd do this video because moving forward, any other video I do, I want to make sure the glands are understood. So when I make reference to them, most people that are watching understand what the glands are. So anyways, moving forward with the chakras. Now, chakra is a form of yoga. It's in Sanskrit. It means will. So these are energy centers. They coincide with the glands. So energetically, but they also have certain parts psychologically that you have to pass in order to hit the crown chakra, which is the spiritual awakening, which dealing with the glands, it's produced by melatonin, and they say sleep is a cousin of death. So the ancient people had an affinity with death, and they felt like you had a spiritual experience dealing with sleep, having astral projection, out-of-body experiences, these type of things. Now, we're going to deal with the chakras first. Then with the first chakra is the root chakra. It's dealing with survival. You know, in order to get through the root chakra, you have to pass through fear. Most of us are living in the world within a survival type of mind state. You see things that are going on in like bad areas, like Chicago's and ruined areas. People live savage because guess what? They're in survival mode all the time. So they're in the lower chakra. In order to do that, you got to pass through your fears, dealing with material things. You know, you don't want to live your life within the root chakra. You pass that, you go to the sacral chakra. But real quick before I pass that, the root chakra is associated with the adrenal glands. So what's going on, Joseph? Ain't seen in a while. The root chakra is associated with the adrenal glands. In order to pass there, and it's also dealing with the element of earth. So I'm not going to get too much into it. But you pass through there, psychologically, you move into the next one. The next one is the pleasure chakra. Most people, again, we have people living, but that's when you only seek pleasure. And not just the sexual pleasure, but the glands that coincide with that are the testes and ovaries that coincide. The glands that coincide with that chakra are the testes and ovaries. And again, most people, when they're in that phase, it's all about having fun and things that you enjoy. It could be food, it could be, you know, any type of vices. Just pleasure. Moving past there is the will. All right. In order to pass through the pleasure chakra, you have to get through guilt, things that you're feeling guilty about, you know, that weigh you down. In order to pass, you got to learn to forgive. You'll go ahead and pass that particular chakra. All right. Moving past that is the solar plexus. The solar plexus connection. All right. Lost connection for a second. All right, we're going back to the solar plex chakra. It's dealing with your will. It's dealing with your ability to make things happen. Your desire to work and build. In order to get past this one, though, you have to deal with your own shame. And that's getting to a point of acceptance of who you are and what situation that you're in and your life. Some of us grew up a very tough life. I know I did. In order for me to move forward and get past some of the things in my life that bothered me, I had to just accept that this is what life is for me, and I can't look at other people's lives and want those other things. I just accept this is mine, and you work with what you got. You just kind of you move forward and you work with what you got. So moving past that and acceptance, we're dealing with the heart chakra. Now this is a looking glass. It's harder to pass this particular chakra to go to the heart chakra. The heart chakra, obviously, just like it says, is dealing with the heart. It's dealing with your compassion, the ability to love all things within a life, the plants, the animals, people, everybody around you, your brethren, is your ability to love. Once you get there, it's a good spot. But it takes a little bit to pass from being driven, being very, very driven, to the point where, you're at a point of love. Now, obviously dealing with grief, losing somebody. You love people, and you also got to let people go. You're dealing with loss. You're worried about someone going on doing their thing and passing on to the next level. So sometimes love leads to attachment. You want people around you all the time because you're loved. So sometimes you have to learn to let go. And dealing with love. So passing through the heart chakra, we're dealing with the throat chakra. It's dealing with communication, your ability to be able to communicate with people. Sometimes manipulation or intimidation or sympathy, make people feel sympathetic for you, aren't the proper ways to communicate with people. Sometimes it's a higher level of communication, and that comes once you pass and you enter within the throat chakra. You'll be able to lead and to be led and to be involved within groups and families. It's a very important chakra. It's also dealing with sound. I forgot the elements. I'll probably go back to them later. In order to deal with that one, you got to deal with truth. Being honest, honesty and truth. Obviously, lies is what gets you in the throat chakra because, through that, you start lying. So, passing on, we're getting into the third eye. The mind's eye. The eye, the imagination, or your dreams are all held at. The eye that you see, the other eye, the mind's eye, the third eye. Now this one, when this one awakens, this is a hard experience for a lot of people. When you awaken your third eye, when you awaken the mind's eye, it's a very, very difficult one. You really get to the point where you start seeing through the illusion. Life is, there's this great lie, most of the Zen Buddhists say, where we believe that it's a separate self from the rest of the universe. Like we believe that there's no me unless without being a son. Obviously, I come into this earth. I didn't come to this planet by myself. I'm a son. So there's no me without my mother. There's no me without my father. There's no me without my sister. There's no me without my friends. There's no me without my wife. There's no me without my child. So there's an illusion of a separate self. And even the environment, from the air, we can't go out of space without taking part of our environment. We need to breathe oxygen. We need food. We need things from our planet. So there's an illusion that there's a separate self, that there's a me. There's me. I'm different, and I'm different from the rest of the world, and that's not true. But once you start to see through that, the third eye, your eye starts to open, and you start to see things for what they are. Not the way you want them to be, but truly, honestly, for what they are. All right, and then the final chakra is the crown chakra. That is responsible for the spiritual experiences that one has. They can connect completely with the universe, be one with the divine self. So that's pretty much the connection between them. Now I'm gonna really go over how the glands work with them and what makes sense. And if anybody hang in this damn long, I'm very surprised and appreciate anybody that hung in there. And if anybody stick around afterwards, we can. And I have questions, you can call my phone. If not, let you in, or I'll open up the lines. Or if anybody, if they're correcting me and see something I'm doing wrong, and maybe they're like, no, I think this is this, I'm all down. But anyways, we'll go over the connection between the glands and the chakras. The reason why I made the connection, because one thing you notice within the glands is that these are actual physical things. You cut the body open, they're there. This is not no pseudoscience. So the thing is, when dealing with anatomy, they're in the center of the body. They're in the center of the body. We obviously know the human being's like a donut. We got a hole going all the way through it. It's in the center of the body. All these glands are. And these glands are secreting hormones that are affecting us constantly. Think about it. Adrenaline physically affects us. Insulin physically affects us. Testosterone physically affects us. So does estrogen. These things, this is energy going through our blood vessels, flowing through our veins, and it's affecting us all the time. Now, before they had the high science to cut people open and do all this dissecting, they knew the energy signals to come in. You can feel energy. You can feel presence. You can feel. You can close your eyes and feel when somebody's in the room. You can feel when somebody's staring at you. You can feel energy's there, right? They say energy, thermodynamics. They say energy cannot be destroyed or created, only transferred from one unit to the other. So it's always constantly energy, electricity, fire, all the elements that go with the chakras. So it's there. Now, through meditation, you can sense these energies. You may not be able to physically see them, but you can honestly sense these energies, especially if you sit down, sit into the lotus stretch. There's different types of hand mantras that coincide with each chakra, and once doing meditation, you'll be able to open each gate. You'll feel the energy, but you also may be feeling the energy that's circulating through the endocrine system. Now, one thing that I learned, that the testes and the ovaries are at the bottom, but they are not part of the root chakra, which is survival. It's actually the adrenal glands. That's where the energy comes from. That's the only thing that's different. Other than that, everything pretty much goes up. So we're dealing with the pleasure chakra. We got dealing with the pleasure chakra is the pancreas. No, the pancreas is the solar plexus, and we're going up from there. The heart, there's the thymus, and the thyroid is the throat, and the third eye is the pituitary gland, which most people say is the pineal gland, because the pineal gland secretes the hormone melatonin, which makes you go to sleep. But the third eye is not the pineal gland. The third eye is the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is a command center with the hypothalamus. It receives the signals and it communicates with the rest of the glands. That's the role of the pituitary gland, but it coincides with pituitary gland coincides with the third eye. So that was pretty much that in a nutshell. I wonder how long this video went. And again, I thank most people for hanging in there. This was a long one. It's just a thing when it comes to meditation. Some of these things that help me out, I know in my journeys, as I'm prepared for moving and different things that have come up. It just keeps me centered. It keeps me grounded. I know for those that maybe thinks the chakra's a little bit more pseudoscience, possibly. I mean, it is a form of spirituality, so you can't cut the body open and look at and see all the chakra centers. But if anybody that studies ancient Chinese medicine, like the pressure points, in Chicago area, my friend RD and a lot of those guys that follow George Dillman, they get this whole big Chinese medicine type of thing where they have they have elements. They have the 5 elements, as we discussed here, and they all go into a star, and they all connect with one another. And it's organs and glands all coincide with them as well. So it's all dealing with chi and stuff like that. But I went over to India. It's very, very similar. When I was younger, I used to always believe that religions were all the same. They're all... Hold on, what happened? Do I get blanched up? I used to believe religions, it was all the same. They're all saying the same thing. It was all a way to connect with the cosmos, to connect with the part of ourselves that was here before we all got here. You know, I feel like one thing I know about children is they are in their purest form. You're welcome. Children are in their purest form because they are the way they are before they get here, the way we're supposed to be. See, as we get into society, we're programmed. We're programmed to act and operate the way we want to. But before we got here, we wear masks. And I think my next video, I'm going to talk about wearing masks, because in psychology, they say we got the id, the ego, and the superego, right? I believe it's very similar. And Ninja says we have the light self and the dark self. We have part of us that we develop for the sake of communication. Then we have a part of us that's who we truly are. You know, obviously, I have a role as Quentin McCottrell. That's who I truly am. I have the role as him, but as an artist, I'm creative. I remember being in school and drawing as an artist. I'm supposed to focus on the society and fitness of society, having a credit score, having a social security number, having a driver's license number, all those things, and the driver's license and everything that comes with a family, coming from a family, dealing with people. All of that is the world. It's of the world. In a lot of religions, they say people are of the world. A lot of those things are of the world. But then there's a side of the world that's a lot more like spiritual than the physical world that we be involved in. So the inner self, there's an inner self and then there's an outer self. So in dealing with that inner self and that quest to find and communicate with inner self, I think most religions and most spiritual practices are in that search to connect to the self that was here before we physically got here and that's going to be here when we are past. That's the divine self. That's the self that connects with the cosmos. That's the part of us that connects with the universe. And in doing that, it's a process of getting there. So I appreciate it. Yeah, it's definitely a process to getting to where we're trying to get to. So I think my next video is going to be about masks. It'll be a little bit more about psychology. This one's kind of spirituality and then a little bit anatomy, dealing with the gland systems. I can break it down a little bit more, but obviously these affect what we eat affects the glands just about as much as stimuli. Sometimes we're in a perceived threat, and then we can get the fight or flight response to kick in. Whether we're stressed out, you can be stressed out, and then your body's fight or flight response kick in, and that's just not good. It's detrimental to your overall health because the blood sugar, blood pressure, all those things are affected when you go into a perceived threat. You go into fight or flight. So, going on for a while, I think if anyone gets the opportunity, please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my YouTube. I'm gonna be going a little bit live on YouTube later, but I obviously gotta get my subscribers up for me to go live on YouTube. Facebook is gonna be where I'm at for right now. I will tag anybody if they're willing to be tagged in some of these. My next one will be mask. We all wear masks. Everybody thinks that they can try to be real, but you got to communicate with the rest of the people in this world. You can't truly be you. Most of the time I want to strangle people or knock people out, but you can't do that. Socially unacceptable to punch people. So, you have to wear a mask. You have to communicate with people and talk to people and, the whole psychological game that goes with it. So we'll go over that as well. The mask we wear, just a little conversation. It's a build. It's a build. I get bored. I see a lot of stuff on Facebook. I'm Sensei Ninja. What I do is teach. So I figured out the glands. I'm always talking about the glands. I'm always explaining it to people. Later on, hopefully, we'll get into a little bit of astrology. We get into we'll get into some other stuff, religion especially, because I'm always down for religious conversations. So, I'm always down for any type of convo. So anybody's interested in doing a build, hit me up. But I think I'm gonna conclude the video here. I'm not sure how long I went on and rambled. But yeah, appreciate everybody for listening. Shalom.